Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. We're going to get straight into it. Of course, get your comments in the chat, what you're thinking about Pulsechain at the moment. What are you doing? And of course, are you buying, selling, hodling, all that sort of stuff? You don't know what to do. So get in the chat there, leave your comment. And this is kind of like an emergency stream here because Pulsechain at the moment is a bloodbath. And of course, that is a buyer's dream. Where will the bottom be? That's always the thing, right? Where do you pick the bottom off? That is the key, because typically, if you're holding longer term, you're going to get mad gains, right? So we're going to talk all about that. We're going to get into pDai as well, do the latest on pDai, and of course, we're going to look at some of the positive opportunities as well in the comments from the community. So it's going to be a bit of everything here as well. So definitely get in the chat there, and I'll post your comments as well. Get your questions in as well. If you've got any questions, I'll see if I can answer them as well. As you guys know, I've been in the Pulsechain and HEX from the very beginning. So hopefully I should have covered something that you want to talk about there. So get in there. Now, if you haven't joined our Discord, firstly of all, the link's in the video description for that. Only $12.50 a month, our private Discord, get in there as well. And we've got a big, cool new channel coming up soon. You guys want to get into that. That's going to be pretty fun as well. So that we're going to launch it today, but that is coming up for the community. So definitely get into our Discord, $12.50 a month, and join up. And of course, the Strategy Club for crypto, $35 a month. Great value. Get into that as well. And of course, if you want a beginner's video in how to learn crypto, we've got a 15 video series there as well. So just hit the links in the video description for that. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. We've got Pulse at the moment. Absolutely bloodbath. You can see that on the hourly. Look at that. Wow. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours or 9 hours there of absolutely red sell-off there. And, we had a little rebound too on the hourly. We're up quadruple zero 2066 US dollar price for Pulse versus DAI. That's eDai. And we rallied all the way to quadruple zero 2262, and then down. We have been down. So pretty dramatic. Obviously, Ethereum is down about $1,850 as a comparison, but this is down pretty big there, 8% at the moment. This is the hourly chart, by the way. Now, if we look at the transactions, you can sort of see the buying and selling going on, and we've still got quite large accounts sort of selling, 10,000 a year, things like that, 1,000, 7,000, etc. You sort of see those sort of sells. But let's have a look at something that's big. Let's look at everything that's over 10 grand, and we can see some of those sells over the last 24 hours here, just on this big pair here, $8 million Pulse DAI pair. And we can see that, we had a $14,000 buy 24 minutes ago, but we had some heavy sellers, right? 33 minutes ago, $42,000. It's a lot to, recover back. An hour and 38 minutes ago, 11,000, 13,000. You can sort of see them just one after another. You can see some common dresses as well with multiple sells. 600 million Pulse sold, 11,500. 1.9 billion. This is the heavy hitters, right? 1.9 billion selling, 36,000. This is an hour and 45 minutes ago. And of course, you got different accounts selling 1.5 billion 2 hours ago. Two of those actually different accounts coming out 1.5, 1.6, maybe related, of course. That's always a possibility. 2 hours ago, so you got some big sales over 10K. You can see them all just all littered here. Let's have a look at some of the bigger ones, because obviously there's lots of large ones there. And you keep through. It's been about 8 hours since we had a bit of a run of large buyers. So that's very important. So we had 26K there. But some pretty big sellers. Now let's have a look to see whether we've got anyone over 100K. Let's see how that looks on the Pulse price. So let's check that. And so 3 hours ago, we had $180,000 buy. So definitely a big buy there, and that's FO4. Looks like a new wallet there set up to buy. And of course, that's 6.625 billion. They bought a Pulse. That could be a master move in the future, of course, $180,000. We had 29 days ago. That was the last time we had such a big one. Sorry, that was 3 days ago. My bad. Sorry, I missed the daily there. So it was 3 days ago since we had a large buyer, $180,000. We've had lots of $100,000 buyers over the last, a few weeks. You can see that over the last month. We had 5 large sellers there, 6 large sellers over the last 30 days, and only 2 big buyers there. So some pretty crazy stuff. It's over a month ago since we had a lot of these 100K buyers coming in. So pretty crazy. We had a couple 250,000 sells 1 month and 18 days ago from the same wallet, 19 there. So, pretty crazy stuff. going on there as well. Yet almost 2 months ago since we had the big 100K buys. That is where we are at the moment on Pulse on that chart there. Now let me have a look. We've got a couple of comments in the chat there. Wookie, when will it stop? That's the big question, right? When will it stop? Now I've done a Fibonacci, and at the moment I got that quadruple 1700 is the next target there for Fibonacci extension. You can try your own at home using the Fibonacci extension. Brian, our community leader in house as well. What's up, folks? We've got both Wookie and Brian in house. They're doing a great job in our Discord and on YouTube. Big shout out to that. And of course, now on Rumble as well. So big shout out to everybody over on Rumble. We have been adding lots of different followers on Rumble. I think we're up 40 followers over on Rumble. We only just got there. So big shout out to you over on Rumble. Really appreciate it. If you're over on Rumble, share it around to your friends. And of course, smash that follow button, hit that like button, and get in the chat too. We love a lively chat. So do that. And I see Brian's over there moderating that. So big shout out there. Hedgehog as well. Good to see you. Diamond Hands, having a look out here as well. We're going to go through a lot of stuff, Diamond Hands. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let the rinsing commence, says Diamond Hands. That's true. So now we've talked about weekends. Now we're going to have hyper diaper, super duper weekends. And that's kind of the play there. We got ink under $1. Woohoo, says Aussie Stone. I know, pretty crazy, right? So ink used to be $74 or something like that. It is down pretty dramatically. So was it 77, 74, somewhere in there? So it's down quite dramatically from the heydays. That was at the beginning, of course, when ink launched. So pretty cool. All right, so let's get into it. That is where we are at the moment. So we've got the market cap at 148 million, liquidity at 8 million. We've had 3.6 million in volume with 2,100 makers on this pair. That's kind of where we are there at the moment. And we can see over the last 24 hours, we have 4,100 buys, 1,600 sells. But the sell volume was bigger than the buy volume, 1.9 million over 1.7. And so the sellers have won the day there, despite there being a lot more buyers. Obviously, there's a lot of bots activity on all blockchains. Last 6 hours, that has pivoted. We had 1,700 buys, 371 sells. But once again, the sellers are bigger than the buyers. Some of the big players are obviously selling down here at the moment. And of course, we know probably people like Rack and Michelle and stuff like that. So it's kind of where we are at the moment. 638K buy volume, 900,000 sell volume. Hard to stop that when the market is selling so much there. Just a couple $100,000 keeps taking us down, on that period. So what's the difference here? $200,000 taking us down over the last 24 hours. So let's have a look at the 4-hourly chart. That's kind of where we are at the moment. Let's add in some indices, shall we? Shall we do that? So we're going to add the EMA. We're going to add 2 of those, and we're going to do a 50 day, and we're going to make that. What are we going to make that? What do we normally make it? Yellow? Yeah, I think we make it yellow, and let's do that. Let's make the other one a 200 day. This is kind of a long-term, medium kind of view. So we'll make that 200 days. That's how easy you can do it at home. You can add that in yourself, and that's how easy it is. So we've got a 50 day and a 200 day, and this is a 4-hourly chart. We can see at the moment we crossed over here. Look at how reliable that was. So we had a cross here. It was unreliable here. Obviously, we crossed up, but we're on an upward path, right? Well, at least on that part, that section there. And let's draw a little line there. So we're this section here. We're on an upward path, but then it came down and broke down below the 200-day moving average, right? So that orange line. So the 50-day is the yellow line, 200-day moving. Sorry, this is a 4-hourly chart, I must say. So the 50-day moving average for the 4-hourly and the 200-day moving average for 4-hourly. This is a trader's view, right? 4 hours, typically a trader's view, like a day trader, swing traders. And here we are. We got this just down, and we're still below that 50-day average as well, which is pretty. Look at the gap, massive gap there. So some of the first signs you're going to be looking at is that going back over, right? So is that going back over the price actually going back over the 50-day? It's probably one indication there for the medium as well. Now you can do shorter time frames like a 9-day for when's it going to be doing it locally, a 9-day to maybe 34-day, something like that. And that's another alternative. Should we do that actually? Let's do that while we're here. And see what that looks like. So the 50 is going to become the 9-day, and I think we're going to do the 200-day as 34. So it's still bad, still bad. I mean, I didn't expect to be indifferent because how aggressive the price is down here. So we're gonna have to wait till we get a bit of a crossover here. See how we had this cross here? So we had this crossover here on the 4-hourly, and that gave us a sign that it had some recovery. But then, of course, it broke back down and is pretty much down, 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 down. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. All right, so that is on the chart. And actually, let's change the view here and see whether that we normally have a chart viewer. Yeah, let's do it like that. How about that's nice and big there? And so yeah, that's kind of where we are on the old Pulsechain at the moment with the price target there. So still not out of the woods yet. But like I say, a Fibonacci extension on the daily. Let's go to the daily. Have a look at that. So that's the daily chart there. Pretty brutal, pretty bloodbathy. What an opportunity to pick up Pulse right now, right? What an opportunity. And we've still got that short-term movements onto the downside. Where is the bottom? Where is the bottom there? Well, my next target is at the 1700. If we do go down, so the 1700 is around about there. So if we do go down, it's kind of my target. And of course, that was from a Fibonacci extension, right? Which is one of these tools that you can bring over here. This Fibonacci extension you can see there. So let me go back to. Let me just go back over to YouTube here and see if you can see that. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but that is Fibonacci over in the tools. And so let's have a look at the daily. We've got the daily there, so not much there. So 1700 is kind of the mark. And I want to go to the daily here as well. Actually, let's add this Fibonacci and see if we can get that in there. I'm going to take it to there. And yeah, I've still got that at 1700. So 1700 there. Let's get rid of that, and let's have a look at the monthly chart or week. Let's go weekly first, and then have a look at the monthly chart on Pulsechain. So this is the monthly. We do happen to have a 50-day, sorry, a 9-day and a 34, and we can see obviously the 9-day there crossing over, but it's quite late. You know, by the time you get to it, it's like 4 weeks into the move, right? Using this short-term time frame. And we're big down, down, down. Now, we're obviously in this chart on the weekly here, we're down at all-time lows dramatically, right? Dramatically. Even the first week when Pulsechain launched back on the 13th of May, 2023, we had an opening price at quadruple 035. We're now at quadruple 019. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? So how far down we are from that opening price? Well, you know, we're pretty far down. We're down 47% after 672 days. So pretty cool, pretty bad and from that point of view. Now, from the actual low, we were down, still down pretty big too. We've got a new low, 31% down. So pretty dramatic, hence the bloodbath, right, topic, right? Normally I don't say bloodbath, but it is a bloodbath at the moment, and you can see that in the chart. Now, obviously, we had some big events here, right? So let's draw some of those in. I'm going to go full screen on this, and hopefully I'm not blocking anything. And let's have a look at. Let's have a look. I'm going to scroll it over a little bit more. Let's have a look at the period where we had the SEC. So this here is the SEC, right? So this big candle there, that is the SEC, and I think we might be able to get a cool color on that. So let's do that. Let's put this. What color should we go? Green. We'll go to this blue here, and we'll add an end. I think we can end here. Bam, and we'll do an arrow, right? So this is when we had the SEC 31st of July, and that's really what tanked the chain, right? So chain was doing pretty well. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, we've had a lot of development. We've had tons of projects launch on here, a lot of DeFi, a lot of GameFi, a lot of NFT markets, all that sort of stuff. And then we got absolutely hammered, right? So it's kind of where we are at the moment. We all came all the way down to quadruple 033, and then we've been rising back up, right? So pretty important there. Let me just get back to the chart. So, you know, we got all the way back up to 0002, and we've come all the way back down again, right? So it's been pretty brutal from that point of view. So that's kind of where we are now, and you know, maybe we'll find a floor at 1700. We're currently at 1891 at the moment, struggling to hold on, unrelenting sell pressure. So that's Pulse at the moment, and of course, let's have a look at PulseX. PulseX at the moment as well. This is our chart here, and we're down at quadruple 01583. Now, this is interesting because obviously Pulse is like is the ocean. It's like the Bitcoin of crypto on Pulsechain. It's the fee coin. And PulseX is the big DEX, right? The big DEX dominating the volume. And, of course, another Richard Hart token. Now, the one thing I want to look at here is actually the ratio. This is the hourly chart. And I want to see that we're actually at quadruple 01583. The ratio to Pulse, though, has been pretty interesting, right? And we're going to zoom out on that. That is the ratio there on the weekly. So that's the weekly chart there for PulseX. Pretty crazy, right? And PulseX is only down 5% today compared to Pulse. Pulse is down, a lot more than that. It's down almost 8%, 7.8%. And PulseX is the DEX. Now, obviously, it's benefiting from all the volume, right? So PulseX benefiting from the volume. It's obviously got smaller liquidity as well. And the volume is pretty, about a third of the volume there, just under a third. So it's performing pretty well. And look at the ratio to Pulse, 0.83. And of course, if you guys remember back in the day, back when Pulsechain at the beginning, the ratio was down at a quarter. You get one PulseX would only get you a quarter Pulse, right? So it was a big deal. It had a big rally up to half. So one PulseX would get you half a Pulse. Got slammed back down there, September 23. And ever since about December 23, it's just rallied all the way up here to 83. Now, it actually touched just over one to one. So it actually got to 1.035 and has come down to 83. So I don't see this trend changing. We do know, obviously, the buy and burn is continuing to go up, right? Well over 6% on the buy and burn. And this thing's continuing to go up on the ratio. So PulseX is relative to Pulse has actually been a good little hedge there. So obviously you can, when you're doing risk management in crypto and you've got a really terrible situation like the Pulsechain here, you're looking for ways to hedge. Some people are looking ways to make yield regardless of the market going down. So these are two different things. But obviously you can go into stable coins and of course you can go into relativities, right? So one of those would be PulseX, for example, could be a play there as well because this uptrend is pretty, very, very, very strong, right? And of course the PulseX is doing the volume, it's doing the buy and burn and so on. So this is kind of where we are at the moment, and all the protocols, we've got tons of tokens launching on Pulsechain, and of course, particularly on PulseX, we've got pump tires out there. We've got lots of other project teams building out lots of projects, including a lot of tax tokens, right, as well. And we've got a beginning of GameFi maturing on Pulsechain with the Mafia game and things like that. And of course, we've got the Crash game coming up too. So this is kind of where we are at the moment, and it's kind of been a little bit of a hedge. Obviously, there's a bit of volatility there. You can see there on the weekly. I mean, we've been a pretty big range between 0.79 and 0.9. So that's crypto for you. Quite a bit of volatility, particularly lately, given how vulnerable the chain is at the moment. So that's kind of where we are on PulseX. Incentive token at the moment below $1. Can you believe it? Below $1. Unbelievable. And of course, if we go to the weekly on this, let's have a look at the weekly chart here. We were all the way in the second week. We're all the way up at $80.69. $80.69. Can you believe it? I'll just move that chart over a little bit so you guys can see it. But $80.69, crazy price, right? That is crazy. So $80.69 all the way back up here. And now we're down at 98 cents, below $1. OMG. Now, we have been below $1 before. Back on the 11th of December, we were down at 39 cents. So it's not like we have been this low, unlike Pulsechain, which is absolutely at a new all-time low and really bad, right? Because it's the lifeblood of the chain. So that, from that point of view, so pretty crazy there. And Ink at the moment, 98 cents. Benjamin's in house. There's wow, Ink below $1 again. Unbelievable. Yes, really trying to hold on to that dollar right now. Really trying to hold on to that dollar. It's pretty crazy. Torchstone says, how many days left with the SEC? Now, I can't exactly remember. I'm thinking was it the 28th or the 24th of March? So I think was the deadline, and they gave a 30-day extension. So we're probably looking at the third week of second or third week of April, probably third week of April maybe is the date. I can't remember the hard fast date. So if anyone else knows the hard date for the SEC 30-day extension, let us know. I think we might, I don't have it on this list, so I might actually find it. I could do that. It's just a matter of, let me just scroll down. I do have the link to that. Let's see if I can find it. That's definitely an issue. Obviously, the biggest issue, we may have a cascading impact, of course. We're going to talk about the reasons behind this, some of the reasons. So just give us a minute there. Let's see where this link is. And find that. There's a problem when you're trying to find stuff that you haven't prepared for. It can take a little bit of time. But anyway, that is 98 cents. I discount. Isn't it crazy, crazy, crazy? So this has been one of the better performers, like at different times of the Pulsechain life cycle, as it were. But yeah, pretty crazy. I think I got it linked now. Got the link. So let me just see whether I can find that date in the document. Let's scroll down and yes, the terminate deadlines and hearing status. That was definitely done. That doesn't actually have the date on that, but 30 date was the 24th of March, which was the extension. So it was the deadline. Defendant Richard Hart there, 24th, 28th, 17th. Mr. Hart's scheduling. I think that was the counter one there. Let's see, the court granted Mr. Hart's motion to dismiss. Yeah, it doesn't actually have the saying on there, but 30 days from the 24th probably is when the date is. So let's see here. 24th of March plus 30 days. I guess it's worked any days. That would get us to the 23rd of April. So yeah, I said about the third week of April. That's probably there. So maybe the 23rd is the hard date there. There we go. Superman is the best. I appreciate that, Torch Johnny. Thanks so much. Hey, look, like you say, influencers can't, we don't determine the market, but we can commentate on it. We can have our views on it, and of course, hopefully bring us experience to it. And at the moment, this is where we are. We've had so many black swan, grey swan events, and of course, the SEC has been that overarching one. So getting rid of that in the future will be a big opening up some big stuff there. And of course, recently we've had obviously the PDai drama, the exploit as well, and of course systemic leakages from that LP, which Richard Hart has tried to say stop using it. Let's pull all the liquidity and reduce that aspect of the leakages there. So big catalyst here for this chart going down right now. So that's where we are at the moment. So let's jump over to that's INC. So INC at 98 cents, trying to hold on to $1 right now. Let's go over to HEX at the moment. So HEX, of course, I think HEX is just a big opportunity on the Pulsechain, particularly actually EHEX to be funny. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting. Now, obviously, we were up all the way up at half a penny. We're now down at 4400th of a penny with a low so far of 4300th of a penny HEX. So pretty crazy. So you can buy a million HEX right now for $4,400 a million HEX right now. And let's go to the daily though, and let's have a look at where we were. So only back here on the 8th of December, we were at 3.1 cents. So that was to get 1 million HEX, you would have had to pay $31,000 US. And look how quickly markets change. I mean, here we are, 111 days later, and it's down 86%. So it just goes to show you. Conversely, here we were back on the 9th of September, and of course we had a rally of 770%. That was over 3 months, 90 days, and the recovery there as well. So that's what I say. What's the lesson there? You buy low and you sell high. That's kind of the lesson there. That's all I can say about that. Obviously, you have to have an underlying belief in the Pulsechain, and of course the HEX ecosystem for that to be true. So whether that's the liquidity, whether that's enough money in the chain, whether that's not too much leakage continuing on from today onwards, there's not millions of dollars being leaked out and so forth. So you have to have a sort of belief behind that. And then also maybe the magic carp ride comes along later on when altcoin season starts. That could be next month. It could be the month after. And often we see markets move when there's particularly negative news. Obviously, we've got coming up on Wednesday, we've got the Liberation Day for America, which is where the reciprocal tariffs have been put on. And so we've still got a couple of days potentially of volatility and downward markets there. So it's a little shaky, to say the least, as you can see in the chart. So that's on HEX there. But actually on EHEX at the moment, it is even cheaper, and it's like 1400 on a penny. So let's pull up the HEX chart here on EHEX as well. Let's have a look at that, because that is crazy right now, the potential opportunity there. So let's bring up EHEX, because I think that's a looking pretty crazy opportunity. So we've got smaller pools obviously on Ethereum. This is not on Pulsechain, but this is the daily chart. Yesterday we bounced off 1200th of a penny on EHEX, and we're up at almost 1400 penny now. Got to almost 1500 a penny. Now, what I was going to say about this, we had some BankX selling again. I think it was yesterday. I don't know what their current balance is, but they're getting pretty getting there. They're getting there, getting rid of their pancake stuff, and that would really open up HEX on Ethereum. Now, obviously, the narrative's tied to Pulsechain too, and to Richard Hart, but I think that it's definitely also tied to Ethereum. And I don't know, we could see a decoupling here with HEX, so it'd be pretty interesting to see HEX versus HEX, right? So that'd be another chart that we could look at. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment on this, and I don't know if we're sure we've got the HEX chart here. Let's have a quick look, see where we've got that here at the moment. HEX, hexy. It will probably be EHEX bridged in versus HEX. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't see that here. I've got one at the bottom there, but too small. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment on HEX. Now, we do have some, big whales obviously selling. Now, big whales don't always sell just because they're mean, just because they're meanies and they make the chart worse, right? They don't always just sell for that. They often also sell because they're preserving capital, right? Just like anybody else out there, they don't want to get wrecked themselves. And of course, here we got this from CryptoSolve. He says, trust Rack and Michelle to see a price chart in shambles and decide to make it worse. Well, it is true. Big whales do have big impacts. Now, it may be not him. It may be people that are in his consortium group. He has other investors that sort of they go in together, kind of thing. So it could be somebody else. And he's actually said in the past that he hasn't really sold anything, and that was recently, I think, on his X. And that's possibly just other people in that consortium. That's quite normal. But anyway, there were some posts here that he had sold, 2.5 billion lots of Pulse there for $50,000 US at a time, and that was earlier today. I haven't seen the source of this, but this is from CryptoSolve's private group here, and he did a couple of sales, as you can see, into Ethereum and USDC. So he's had a couple of trades there into Ethereum and USDC there. So a couple $100,000 at least. So maybe 300,000 or something. So that is a little bit of interesting stuff there, pulling the chart down. Now, in terms of moving forward, we've got a couple of comments to make about that. So actually, I'm probably covering the chart a little bit there. So we're going to go back to our other view and check this out. So it was a pretty cool chart I found here from Liquid Loans. I thought it was quite interesting. And there was some irony there with Liquid Loans, of course, with the $52 million of sacrifice funds. Obviously, they probably spent many millions on the Liquid Loans and Petrocal, but obviously the 52 million is a hell of a lot of money. So we got. I see a trend. I should watch this market that's down here. And of course, if I wait any longer, I will not profit from the trend. I'll buy. Thankfully, I didn't wait to buy, and I buy. And of course, then the market starts coming down, right? I will use this correction to increase my position, buy. Wow, at this price, I will double my position. And of course, they buy down further. That's kind of where we are at the moment, right down on the sun. I can't believe it. The price has now halved. This must be the absolute bottom. And of course, it goes down a bit further. Why doesn't the Banking Association have anything to say about this? And then it gets even further down. And of course, enough is enough. I should sell and never look at stocks again, or in this case, crypto, or in this case, Pulsechain. And of course, then at the very bottom, lucky I sold everything. And of course, that's kind of the capitulation event, right? So how close are we to that on the old Pulsechain, right? How close are we to that on here with that event? So that's going to be pretty interesting to see what the market assesses there. Now, like I say, I think I got my next target at 1,700. That's my target. You have to make your own, but that's using a Fibonacci extension. So that's kind of the logic there. Now, then of course the market recovers a little bit. It will still fall, and then of course it does fall one more time. And then of course, what did I say? And then of course, then the market suddenly starts recovering at some stage. And of course, a lot of people are wrecked in the rear view mirror. Imagine driving along the road, and a lot of people are wrecked. Right? You see people park their cars on the side of the road, pulling out all their gear, people fighting. That's all crazy stuff behind you, things blowing up or whatever. And of course, that's in the bottom of the chart here. And then, of course, you start riding up the other side and said, what is going on here? And then, of course, the price keeps going. I knew all along that would recover. And then finally at the near the top here, whatever, I will buy again. Anyway, it's cheaper than last time. So it's cheaper than this one here. So I thought that's, there's some truth in there. And hopefully that gives you some idea. Picking off the bottom of here could be pretty masterable move. But, of course, we're still trying to find that at the moment. But it's definitely buying here. Buying in this zone. There's actually a little mark here. Actually, let's get a little. Let's see, we've got a little symbol here. Let's get a little circle. So buying here is obviously better than is cheaper than buying up here. Right. So people are willing to buy up here. and of course that got sold off. But when the price is down here, people don't buy, right? It's like, oh, I can't buy down here. Look at the chart, I can't buy down here. But of course, people buy up here, and you can see the green candles, all the buyers, right? I'm buying up here, but when it gets down to here, they don't want to buy. Now, sometimes people have no money left, right? That's true too. But a lot of people do have money, can buy. Now, that's why I said, buyers' dreams do come true. These extreme capitulation events. And of course, there are many in this chart, right? We could add them all up, rug bulls and SEC and many other things. You could add them all up there. The general market, Trump token coming out, competing with other blockchains, all sorts of stuff going on. But here we are at the moment. And of course, people, I can't buy this, but actually, I'll buy it when it comes back up to here, right? That's kind of the logic there. Now, obviously, DCAing is one approach, and you've got to decide, is this the bottom? Is this near the bottom? And that's sort of things that you have to assess there. So that is some of the interesting stuff we've had there. And I thought that was a pretty funny post. Now, I just want to also get into some of the other stuff that's happening on Pulsechain. Obviously, we're getting a lot of tokens launched, like just popping up all over the place. Because that's, like I said earlier, some people go for risk management. So they might go into PulseX from Pulse, for example, because they see the ratio going up, or they might go into a stable coin, for example, stuff like that. They may go into some sort of yield-bearing protocol or some tax protocol that they get airdropped tokens. There's lots of different ways of trying to offset with some yield, but obviously nothing typically better than stable coins to try and keep your dollar preserved. But here we also have people that are not on the risk management side, and we have people that are on the I still want to make 5x, I still want to make a 5x, 100x, or whatever. We still have those people, and so we see a lot of tokens popping up, and those give opportunities. Now, some of them may or may not be that safe. They could be their tax, maybe the tax is going into a certain wallet, all sorts of stuff, or they could just be, a scam coin. But in any case, we've had a new token launch here, Heart OG, and I saw this was on X earlier today. And of course, this is up 4,600%, sort of dominating it. Liquidity is pretty small, 15K, so a real retail play. But the volume has been 78K over 15. But of course, when's the top on this, right? That's always the question. And of course, let's have a look at this. So you can see the wide volatility on this. This is the hourly. But let's go to that's the daily. Let's go to the hourly. You can see obviously mad gains. Everyone's mad gains. Euphoria, right? Euphoria. How high will it go? Well, someone bought the top, right? Someone bought the top up here, and hopefully it wasn't you, right? So hopefully it wasn't you. And of course, people go, well, where's it going to go to from here, right? So people buy the top, and that's where it is. And where they're going to buy the bottom, right? Are they going to get the bottom down here? Is that going to be the bottom there, down at 0002 or not? So, it's pretty speculative stuff. If you don't get in early on these things, like if you don't get down nice and early, then, you do face a lot of troubles trying to, could lose money, more money than you even possibly imagined gaining. So don't get in on late those things for sure if you are going to speculate. But that's kind of where we are at the moment. We've got obviously a lot of other stuff. We've got USD Tether and other contracts rolling around, Mars token and etc. We've got loan token popping up here, funnily enough, up 9%. BFF from Finvestor, post Finvestor up to 9% as well. Missiles, they're up there 9%. So we've got a few of these Finvestor ecosystem tokens. The Beast as well is another one. So Finvestor, so they're doing quite well with all this volume going through because people are making Pulse. So in Finvestor, I think they earned Pulse on this one. I think it is on if you're holding Finvestor, you get Pulse. So I think that is what they're getting over here. 4% burn tax, 1% for investor reflections. Okay, so for investor there that they're getting, and of course goes back to holders. So that's what they're getting now. And they all have different type of tokenomics on that basis. So a little bit of a pump here from 20 to 22 with the investor price. So a lot of people are holding these sort of tokens at the moment. So it's kind of with that. Remember is another one too. I think that's the one you get paid in Pulse actually. Yeah, earn Pulse by rewards just by holding. And this has been one of the more popular ecosystems in the last, a month or two, isn't it? So this one here has been around since 16th of February, and had a beautiful run up. And people are earning on the volume, right? So volume's still pretty good, 226K there, liquidity 109, and people earning Pulse there, part of that whole investor ecosystem. So there is opportunity in the chain, and of course I have to bring it to some of the influencers out there too, like RH Max. And of course, I remember RH Max when he started back in the day. And of course, he says, I don't think you get it. Pulsechain prices could drop another 90%, and would still be out streaming, promoting, and fighting for glory. And as you guys know, I'm definitely in that camp. I've been streaming more than any other influencer virtually until perhaps RH Max and Somni came along every single day, as you guys know, and used to do twice a day too. So it's pretty crazy. But of course, I've been doing that since 2020, and then before that, I was doing it as well on other channels. So pretty crazy. I don't think you get it. Pulsechain prices could drop, but there's nothing like an idea whose time has come, of course. So yeah, there's a die-hard amount of Pulsechain influencers out there that will continue. I say there's probably a good dozen that are pretty regular, from very large ones to medium ones that are doing a good job out there. Now, this is one here from Ice Tray. So even during this opportunity, right? So we've got this bloodbath down here, right? We've got this bloodbath and particularly HEX, right? So we've got this HEX chart at the moment. Let's put another circle on that just because we can, right? Just because we can. And let's put that there. Bam. I love these little circles. They're kind of cool. So we'll put that circle down there. That is opportunity to buy. I think I missed the chart that we're going to have to make it bigger. So there's an area to buy, right? And we did have this person here. Looks like a young lady as well. It says HEX. Finally, after 4 years in the community, I have DCA'd my way to 1 million HEX on Pulsechain. So this is what I'm talking about. Up here at this level, you were paying a pretty large sum to get your HEX million HEX here. So up here, you're paying $1 million. A million, that was a bit big. But you're paying $1 million up there, and now you can get it for 4,400 for $1 million. So 31,000. 41,000. So just goes to show you the opportunity there, right? So pretty bad. I won't put a text box, but you get the idea. That is where we are at the moment. So in the cycle, so we got people willing to pay 31,000 for $1 million HEX up here. We got people not willing to buy a $1 million HEX for 4,400 down here. So we'll see where it lands. The opportunities abound. Now, talking about that, we got the incentive token back over $1. So it's really fighting to get that dollar up there, which is pretty crazy. Now we've got Tortoise Johnny said the liquid loans is what 1,700,000 for $1. That's Pulse. Okay, cool. I'll try and check that out too. What's the ticket for liquid loans? Well, there's the loan token LOAN, and of course there's the stablecoin USDL. So those are the two ones there, Lal. So loan LOAN. What a bargain, says Brian. What a bargain indeed. We've got Blair in the house there. Hi, all. Good to see you, Blair. And Goody says, Rackham selling his bags. Well, it could be someone in his consortium, right? So let's be fair to him. And I was really annoyed with the community back in the day because people were knocking the Saudis and all sorts of stuff. They were knocking their own bags, right? Rackham was trying to get, big investment coming in from oil money. It just made no sense to me that the community was, knocking him down from there. It's self-defeating, right? Self-defeating. Buy the blood DCA and you'll never miss the bottom, says DJ. Well said. Steel Vegas says, sadly, Pulse and the vast majority of the Pulse ecosystem is pure trash. Better to invest in Sonic or SUI or Suchain, KTA or most anything else. That's from Steel Vegas there. And of course, Tortoise John says the gas token is simply simple, safe way to go. So that's one of the investor tokens, right? So I guess one there. Glad to have you in the community too, says Diamond Hand. Absolutely. A big shout out there. And of course, the volume you can get is amazing, says Wookie. Absolutely. All right. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. We're back over $1 for incentive token. Now, I thought that was pretty cool. This Ice Tray here got $1 million after all that time. And of course, what helped to do that was the fact that the prices come down, right? And she was able to get in there. So there's always a buyer, and some people are looking for that. Now, the strength of the community, we saw RH Max. Obviously, you guys know I stream every day. And of course, we've got Khaled here of Crypto on Crypto says, why Pulsechain better than Ethereum? So these are kind of the substantiators for Pulsechain and part of the belief in the future of Pulsechain. Pulsechain is a leverage of Ethereum, of course, with 170 content creators. Now, I would say at least a dozen of those are quite regular and quite large, like medium to large. I would say that my channel is on the smaller end of that range. But, including all my channels, probably in the mix there. With 11,000 subscribers, so it gives you an idea. And of course, with 250,000 users and growing. So I don't know where we've got that many engaged at the moment, but let's say 10 to 20,000, probably a fairly decent number. There's probably some good numbers there to firm that up. But the potential market of people that have played on Pulsechain, definitely 250. And of course, remember the sacrifices had a pretty big wallet set as well, particularly for PulseX, which was quite large. Pulsechain says, smash the like, hit the like there. Definitely hit the like there as well. And a big shout out to everybody on YouTube. Big shout out everybody over on Rumble. Man, I'm really loving Rumble over there. Very, very cool. And I can see the moderators in the chat over there having a good time. So not bad, not bad. All right, so let's go over to some of this action. So he's got here 250,000 users growing. We definitely got that potentiality. All you need is green candles, and you start, pulling more and more of these people back into the system. It's probably kind of cool. And that's when you get back into some of these FOMO prices, right? Where you get these big green bull runs as well. Obviously, Magic Carp Ride could come into play at any time as well. Now, obviously, Go Pulse there, one-stop shop for Pulse. Of course, with amazing community-made dApps. Now, we've got on Pulse Coin list, they have a list of about 463 dApps, but we actually have a lot, so 263 dApps, but we actually have probably hundreds more, generally riskier ones, but we've got a good probably 300 that are pretty solid DeFi, GameFi, and informational side. So pretty good on Pulsechain. A lot of good builders too. Now, a one-stop shop for Pulse statistics is GoPulse, Batia's top aggregator. And of course, they're going to bring AI technology to Pulsechain, so we can't wait for that as well. 9-inch, of course, rich DEX there, 9mm Pro, first to implement V3. And of course, we had limit orders from 9-inch, DCA and staking. Pulse Coin List, best ranking site. And of course, we use that a lot on this channel. Coast, of course, we have our dedicated fiat stablecoin. And of course, that's really been contributing to Pulsechain big time in the last few weeks. I mean, it's gone over $9 million, now $9.2 million. And we have a lot of the United States money coming in when apparently we've had, UK and other money leaving the chain. So the Americans really coming to the rescue there, although it is a pretty big opportunity at the moment. Now, I saw yesterday over the bridge on Telegram, you could see that there was actually quite a bit of money coming into the bridge today. The last couple of hours, we saw money leaving. So it's just a bit of ebbs and flows there. So it's going to be interesting to see money coming over the bridge to pick up some of these deals on Pulsechain as well. And of course, some pretty cool stuff there. Pulsechain is the Republican version of Ethereum there. And of course, Richard Hart, the core assets in the mix there. What comparison should I do next? And those are some of the cool things there as well. So cycle 1, high growth potential, 10-second block times. Native DEX, PulseX, DEX token is deflationary. OA never dumps, and OD 8% OA, no VC. So we've got that centralized ownership of Pulsechain, PulseX, something like probably over 90% for both of these. I think PulseX was a lower level. I think it was 84 or something, but that's probably over 90% too. So we've got that centralized control as well. So it's going to be interesting to see all that play out in the future. So a pretty good post there from Khaled as well. The other thing, of course, we've got this big new, Block Explorer coming from Pulsecoin. We can't wait for that. As you guys know, we have been a little bit frustrated by the fact we've lacked a really awesome Explorer. And of course, now we're going to get Pulsecoin. And I'm going to post the link to this in the chat there so you guys can show them some love. But this is a blockchain, and this could be closer to the holy grail that we want, right? So I'm very excited about this coming to Pulsechain. Now we've got got a couple of browsers out there, but we need a really, really, really high performance one, and this may be the first one that actually gives us that quick render and all the information that we want. So pretty excited about that. So this is coming up there. Imagine if Pulsechain had the fastest block explorer ever. We want it, and I think this would be really useful for the chain because it's been a big problem. Just not having quite the super fast one. We got one decent one, and then the others are a little bit lagging, right? So we're cooking up something exciting for Richard Hart, which is pretty cool. Want to test this? You can already test it on scan.midgard.wtf. So it's kind of cool. And let's use our AI scanner. So they've got stuff like that in there as well. And they've had recently a new Block Explorer for Pulsechain recording, which has been pretty cool. So we can't wait for that to launch, coming soon. And I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, I think they did a live stream there with Corey Costa as well. You can probably go check that out on his channel. Although he's going on holidays, he needs a bit of a break for the chain. So that's kind of where it is. I can see he's got the link down the bottom there. So not bad. This is coming, and this is going to be really important. I can't wait for it to launch. So very cool. Now, the other big thing that we have, and we haven't heard an update from, if you guys remember, I covered several weeks ago, if not, was the fact that we have Sun Mini Meal coming. This is a massive European food. It's got like a special diet food that makes you lose weight. And it's only to the at the moment jurisdiction of the European Union. But this is, I believe the founder, the CEO, was someone that got into HEX early, and he's now bringing his success to onboard. Now, I haven't heard anything more from this because this was posted a little while back now on the 5th of March, in response to that. So, yeah, 10th of March, actually. So this is 20 days old. So it probably will take a few weeks. But this is potentially coming up for Pulsechain. This could be massive, right? So we also talked about liquid loans, right? Liquid loans talked about many months ago when I had the founder on here talking about an onboarding negotiations going there. I don't know what's happened to that, so I'll try and follow up on that too. But in any case, we've got Sun Mini Meal coming, and this could be potentially really, really big. So we'll see whether that's coming very closely. Maybe in April we could possibly see this. So we, Sun AG, are launching the first competitive on-ramp to Pulsechain. So not only are we going to get that awesome new block explorer, which is going to be great, we're potentially getting some big, massive on-ramp. We're proud to announce our partnership with Banks Official in the coming weeks. So, we're only 20 days in. So maybe it's going to take, 3 to 6 weeks, something like that. We'll see. So April could be the launch day for this onboarding. And, of course, what would that do to the chart? If you've got new people coming in, new capital, then, the chart can really start to move back up there as well. Now, we're going to talk about one of the issues that we've got with Pulsechain, so that's coming up soon. But I just wanted to focus on some of the real cool value adds that are coming to Pulsechain because I think that's really important. So this is kind of cool. So coming with the integration of our company's token Soil will be completed. Here are the key features of our upcoming on-ramp. Fees starting as low as 1%, limits up to 30,000 euros there coming daily, and of course 150K per month. And then we've got decentralized liquidity sourcing powered by Proteus. And of course, Proteus is our biggest DEX aggregator, right? And they do a great job. They're also bringing us AI technology for market trading and other stuff coming up in the future. Huge thanks to Proteus for making this possible. And I must say a big shout out to Proteus because they do so much good stuff for Pulsechain. And of course, people don't really care too much about infrastructure, but when you're getting the service quality that they give, you do care, right? You are very thankful for that service. Getting onto Pulsechain has traditionally been a complex process. We've got different ways you can come through, cross-chain, come through the official bridge, come through PulseLN. There's different ways to do that. We obviously have Portal X, and of course we've got the Coast is the most direct way, right? Coast Fiat, which has moved up to $9.2 million, which I think is pretty cool. So getting on Pulsechain traditionally been a complex process, signing up for a centralized exchange, buying Ethereum, bridging it over, and then swapping for Pulsechain assets. We've simplified this into a seamless 5-minute process. This is a massive step forward. The Sun AG is excited to bring this to the entire Pulsechain community. We'll keep you updated as soon as the integration goes live. Follow us to stay up to date for developments. So we haven't had an update since then, and I'm very excited to see where this heads, right? So very, very cool. And I've actually asked for an update there. So let's see what happens in the future. So this could be a big deal. We've seen some big influencers here. HEX here, 44,000 followers on X. We got the Crypto Coffee, of course, arguably the biggest influencer in my view across the board with X and YouTube, and of course the 51,500 followers there. So some pretty awesome stuff going to Hex Scout in there. So you got lots of people that are pretty keen, as well as community members as well. So kind of cool. Could be very well. Absolutely brilliant. This will be a game changer as well. Now, the other thing, of course, they have lots of customers with lots of money, and that means that could be a whole new source of people, investors, and capital, and of course, seamlessly onboarded onto Pulsechain. So that could be pretty exciting. So now, what will this turmoil mean for them? Probably not. Maybe not much. Maybe it just means a buy opportunity. They see this as a buy opportunity, and it's good entry for people to buy in. So maybe the view they take there. So we'll see how that plays out too. Now, that's some of the cool stuff there. Now, as you guys know, when you've got risk management issues, we need a ultimate solution. Now, obviously, we've got 4 liquidity forks at the moment. We've also got the fiat-backed stablecoin Coast, but of course, we're looking forward to the algorithmic stablecoin coming, possibly the holy grail in crypto, PUSD ALGO. And of course, that's from the world's best peer-to-peer developer, in my opinion, Jacob. And of course, that is going to be exciting. Now, on the 11th of April, we've got the Signum Oracle going to be launching. We had the Fetch Oracle launch a couple of weeks ago, so we're going to have 2 operational oracles, and that means that teams can build really high-functioning protocols with really good price averaging, and as well as non-price data, including for the Signum Oracle RNG as well, which is a module inside the Teller Oracle, which is being forked. So I'm pretty excited about it. 11th of April is the deadline there, and we're going to have Signum Oracle launch and Tetra launch as well. Tetra, of course, bringing us, they've moved away from Web3 and bringing us a fully decentralized opportunities to do limit orders and trading, marketing strategies, and interacting with smart contracts in a completely futuristic way. You won't need to be a coder, and we might end up seeing a lot of strategy templates for those as well. So it could be a whole flourishing new area on Pulsechain. So I'm very excited to see that launching as well. And I'm going to have those guys on the show because I think that's a real game changer, particularly for a niche part of the market. But they're making it really user friendly with pretty much a step-by-step step through. So that's going to be a game changer, both for Tetra and, of course, the Oracle as well. Is going to be super easy to do and fully decentralized. It's not even using Web3. They've moved away from that model. So it's going to be decentralized down on your computer. Fantastic, right? And you can put it on the cloud. If you don't want to put it on your computer, you can put it on the cloud and operate it there too. So game-changing stuff, technology coming to Pulsechain. In addition, of course, the PLS AI products that are coming for trading strategies. So you can imagine all these integrations coming in, making a very sophisticated environment for investors and traders on Pulsechain, and that is coming up soon. So I'm pretty excited about all that. And of course, we're going to try and get as many of them on the show as possible. Now that brings us, of course, up to pDai drama. pDai has definitely played a role, definitely the exploit in the current market conditions we have at the moment. Obviously, Ethereum is down, and of course, Pulsechain is a bit of a leverage on that too to some degree. And of course, we also have this fallout and exploit with the potentially millions of dollars, of course, going over maybe 4 million, maybe up to as high as 8 million or so. There's different numbers floating around, but that's over a longer period of time. But there's definitely an exploit going on, and we've seen a lot of pDai there. So it's actually been a bit of a handicap. Now, the problem is, Richard said, pDai has been stubbornly difficult to remove the liquidity. I've got 6 of the main pairs that I've found for the pDai, and you can still see there's still quite a bit of liquidity there, just far too much. In fact, we've got 45K in the DAI stable here on V2. V3 here, we've got DAI Pulse. So instead of DAI, we've got DAI Pulse on a V3. That's got 35K. We've got DAI here on V3 at 95K. We've got DAI on V2 at 12K. And then we've got DAI here on another VT pool here. This is from 10 months ago. So I'm a bit dubious about this particular token, but 119 in there as well. But that is the same contract. I'm just double checking that's the same contract. Yeah, that's the same contract. So we've got some crazy stuff going on here. Now, what the funny thing about this is that the price has been sitting around 2/10 of a penny. And of course, we haven't seen an exploit for some time. So let's have a look at some of the details there. We've got an update here from DeFi Pulse Pro. He's got an interim update. This is only about 2 hours old. And he says, worth noting, the debt ceiling and total debt are now equal. So the debt ceiling and total debt are now equal. Of course, that's around 26 billion. Well, not 26 billion, but does he have the number? Yeah, it does. Yeah, 26 billion as the total debt and the debt ceiling there. So it's the amount of DAI that's been issued and the ceiling that can actually be minted on the Maker protocol, right? So that's pretty cool. So while this might change as the SYN entries are flogged, so the SYN entries there are flogged there, that's just the balance that's outstanding. Typically, that's been, several 700 million DAI up to, 1.5 billion DAI. That's where it started, 1.5 billion DAI, and it's come down to, 700 million. I haven't actually seen the latest picture there because they've locked you out, but this person here seems to have access. It's a promising sign that we'll finally see some light. So that's kind of there. Joy remains unchanged for now, but it and total debt should drop by 30 million in about 28 hours, then accelerates as SYN and entries are flogged every 2 hours. So that's flogged over to the Joy there. So the Joy is the asset, right? So it's the amount of money that is able to pay off some of this debt before you move from liquidations into a system recovery. And of course, that gets us to the flop auctions that people are talking about there. So as of now, it's been 24 hours since the last exploit as well. So there hasn't been an exploit apparently for that period of time. So it's probably about 27 hours now. So let's see where that heads with the exploit because of the ceiling there. So yep, some interesting things going on with the pDai. So we'll see how that all lays out in the next couple of days. But fundamentally, pDai Maker's flawed. The oracles are flawed. The price, because it doesn't have a chain link oracle, doesn't have historical prices. Replaying it back for those two reasons probably going to be impossible. And of course, you're probably better off just to fork the protocol. And of course, next one, of course, who gets control of the Maker protocol. And of course, then you've got to do a lot of work to fix it up. So, and then you've got the exploiter on top, which is fundamentally a big issue there as well. So, Richard's talk about, closing out these pools. And I think that's a very, very important part there. So we're going to quickly look at Richard Hart while I'm here and check up his comments about that, because I think they're entirely relevant to this topic. And yeah, so this is on the 28th there. Life would be better if everybody would remove all the liquidity. So all the sort of liquidity in here would be much improved. pDai supply was grown by 213 million since I started tweeting about the exploiters. Apparently, we haven't had an exploit minting in 27 hours because of that ceiling. Tons of coins are worthless out there, and no one cares about them because they don't have liquidity, meaning you can't inflate and dump them for other things and then sell those things for stables and bridge out. But instead, whoever is providing liquidity is getting extracted on, as you see from the 20 minutes ago. And those things they swap their inflated pDai for, then get sold. So when the liquidity providers stop getting pDai dumped on them, then the holders of other coins don't have to go get dumped on as well. The extraction problem goes away when there's not liquidity to extract them from pDai anymore, just like thousands and thousands of other coins on Ethereum Pulsechain that we're talking about, because they're worthless. So we've got a bit of work to do there. We've still got influencers out there, promoting that. You can decide whether it's good or bad. Obviously, typically, most people would probably think that's a very bad thing, as I do. And of course, I've tried to remain neutral on the pDai make it theory because there's been good evidence for it. And of course, I think it's pretty much the evidence against it has pretty much sunk the ship now. And so there's a couple of opportunities forward, right? Matty Allen's proposed one, minting a DAI token and then potentially doing a liquidity fork in a month or two from now, maybe, if they're able to execute that using the airdrop pDai. I don't really see it like a government bailout, like picking winners and losers. And I know a lot of people want pDai to $1. It would have been amazing if it had occurred. Obviously, that's a massive value increase on the chain. Other alternatives, of course, is doing more liquidity forks. Obviously, actually bringing a maker over and actually forking that and launching it afresh. But of course, we know that probably the best answer there is this PUSD ALGO. It is going to be the ultimate algorithmic stablecoin and worked absolutely fantastically as a test on the live Pulse chain over a year ago and was making mad game money and a better peg to $1 than we saw with other pegs as well. And of course, it's going to be backed on top of USDL, the liquidity fork from Liquid Loans. So it's kind of the holy grail. And including on top of that, it's going to have a whole ton of DeFi yields as well. So I'm very excited about it. Now, we could see some pretty interesting things happening with this, obviously with the Signum Oracle launching on the 11th of April. And so this could be a huge opportunity. Now, you can participate and help make it happen. Up to 75% of the contributions that go into the sacrifice program will be going into liquidity and to, of course, the secret technology, the stability miner there. Not so secret, of course, miner bots. They're going to keep the dollar pegged. And this is a huge opportunity, in my opinion, to provide another strong stable coin and our first algorithmic stable coin that's pegged to $1 as well. Now, there are other speculative coins on Pulsechain, but they're all like 1 cent or after a cent, so they're not stable coins. They're speculative, but PUSD ALGO will be pegged at $1 from almost the very beginning once those miner bots start ticking away, as we saw on live on Pulsechain. So there's 2 bonuses for this, 90%. You can get that link using the video description. It's in the video description, PUSD ALGO. You can type in PUSD ALGO into the YouTube and find all the videos on that I did with Jacob. We're probably going to get updated once the Signum Oracle is running on the 11th. It is required, right, to get this up and running. So it's got a random number generator as well as price calls, and people will be able to do reporting for that too. So it's going to be pretty exciting. And yeah, game on, game on. Now, if you do $1,000 inclusive of the referral bonus, then that's about $840 plus 90% referral. You'll get to $1,000, and that will open up the second bonus, which of course is a bonus X there, and that's up to 2x multiplier. That will be a random number as well. So check that out. It may be something that you consider doing. Now, obviously, people are going to be able to earn yield on the platform, and of course, also provide a stable coin algorithmic one, the first one on Pulsechain. Now, if this is successful, like Liquidity is, and we've seen it being successful on Pulsechain test as a test, then it could get forked over to many chains, and just like Liquid has become kind of the golden standard, and of course their new token version 2 Bond, we could see PUSD ALGO with such a beautiful brand name. They're also getting forked over to other chains as well. So this could be what Terra Luna was meant to be, but of course fully decentralized, no humans, no middleman in the road, right, messing it around. So pretty exciting about that. So that's kind of coming up there from Richard. Richard also posted a bit more about that too. He said, I think most of the liquidity in these 5 addresses here adds up to 80% of the 12.5 billion Pulse bid. So he really wants to get that rid of. Now, we know that some teams have come to the party. Obviously, we've seen liquidity pulled from some of these peers. probably Richard or somebody. And then we've also seen major teams pull out web LPing. They basically connected their token liquidity to it. We've seen obviously PDC, the Greys. We've seen SolidX, and of course some degree Troper as well. So yeah, it's pretty. People were trying to do that, but still, it's still got too much liquidity in it. And hopefully, within a few weeks, we'll be able to really stop that. And maybe this ceiling is also going to help stop that minting. We shall see. A few questions there, but positive for the future. And as long as we see that leaking going out, right? Now, the final thing I want to talk about here is very important, and that is the Pulse bridge, because I want to talk about that too. This will be our final topic. We're coming up to an hour here, so good time to wrap it up. But let's go to the bridge and have a look at the amount there. So we've got $83.25 million. So we're still holding up pretty well, to be honest. And I think when we were at the very low on Pulsechain, we were down at like 30 to 40 million. If I remember rightly, maybe we got underneath 30 slightly, but here we are back at 83. Now, obviously, we were up at around 120 million, and we were holding on to over 100 million for a while. Now we're down at 83.25, but I still think we're doing pretty well here. We've got our DAI is still pretty much intact. I see it's down about 100K from our live stream earlier, but it's still pretty well there at 24.4 million eDai. USD stable there at 15.7, and we've got our USDC at just under 7.4 million. Our coast, as I said, has been a little bit of a help because it's gone up about 200K over the last few days, if not week, to 9.2 million. So that's pretty cool. And ETH there obviously is down down to 1850. So we get a bit of recovery. That will be cool too, as well as Bitcoin being down also. So they're all dragging us down at the moment. And of course, Coast has been the shining light because it's up, but it's been up, right? And that's looks like US money coming in there. Now, the other ones, of course, we've got our native stablecoins, USDL, PXDC, XDC. These are the three of the main liquidity forks, and obviously contributing still quite a bit of money there. What do we got there? Just under $7 million with the liquidity forks and $9.2 million with the fiat-backed one. And so if we can get this PUSD ALGO one, this is scalable, right? It could suck in a lot of Pulse, right? A lot of Pulse to issue a stablecoin, and therefore it solves the stablecoin trilemma, scalability, and potentially could add huge value to Pulsechain, just like we saw with Terra Luna. It could be pretty awesome. So I really feel this is going to be a major contribution to Pulsechain. Now, it could be a killer app. We are looking for killer apps all the time, where we get a huge amount of people flocking in for this. So hopefully that is the case there as well. So that's kind of where we are on the charts. So let's wrap it up. We're going to do a wrap up here. We got any more comments in the chat? No more comments. Let's have a look over at Rumble. Big shout out to everybody over in Rumble there. I see the moderators having a good time in that chat there. I have no idea what you guys are talking about, pillows and stuff like that, but that's just the way it goes. These guys are crazy, and this is the sort of moderators you get these days on Pulsechain. We got at the moment we got Pulse at 1944. It's a good year in the war. That was 1944, and we got that coming down there, bouncing off 1891. Let's have a look at the hourly on this. That is where we are at the moment. So let's auto log that. So we're off the bottom. We were down at 1898. We're now at 1944. And we definitely want to try and get back over that 2000 mark. And that would get us back over the 9 EMA, right? So definitely get back over 2000, exactly where the 9 EMA is there. Very important there. And of course, we want these to cross, right? They want this yellow line to cross the orange line. Hopefully start heading us back into longer periods there, 50-day, 200-day. PulseX at the moment, looking like a BOSC versus Pulse, and is a form of hedging against Pulse, because if the ratio keeps this uptrend, it may very well, and I suspect it's going to overthrow the 1-to-1 eventually. Very, very cool. Now, what's the other thing we've got sitting behind Pulse and PulseX? The pump ties, right? We've got a lot of protocols being launched off there constantly. That's burning Pulse, right? It's also a burning Pulse, buying and burning PulseX. So that's been a kind of cool contributor. At the moment, many of you may not know, but we're playing Mafia game on Pulsechain, the #1 GameFi, and we know that has been everyone's playing that. They're ranking up their players right now. They're constantly clicking the button, doing transactions on Pulsechain. That's burning Pulse. It's buying and burning PulseX. It's crazy over there. That sort of stuff. So definitely Pulse benefiting from that. Diamond Hand says PDC to the moon. Solid stream. Absolutely. And thanks for that. Yeah, PDC, we're going to be covering that project because that is a really good project. One of the better ones on Pulsechain has had a big pullback. So probably a good time to consider entering PDC as well. So we'll talk more about that in the future. Incentive token back over $1, holding on, fighting for its life, is at $1.02 right now. And of course, it got all the way down to 95 cents OMG during the live stream too. That's crazy stuff. And let's see if it can break back up here. It's got a bit of work. It needs to really get up between $1.18, $1.22. Let's see if it can do a bit of a rebound on the old Pulsechain. HEX, of course, what a steal. Million HEX on Pulsechain, $4,500 US. And of course, that's $450 for 100,000 HEX. And of course, on Ethereum, even better in my view. It's down to what, 1,300 of a penny. So $1,300 for a million, $130,000. Sorry, $130 for 100,000. Looks like a steal to me. Pretty exciting. And let's see, maybe April is the time we get a massive bounce after the Liberation Day. We've still got a few more volatile days. It could be pretty epic, especially if we get big onboardings like Sun AG coming to Pulsechain. So let's see. We'll keep an eye out for that. You can do it, says Blair. You can do it indeed. All right. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. We've got a good crowd over on Rumble. Big shout out to Rumble. Smash that follow button over on Rumble. Smash the like as well. Join our Discord. The link is in the video description. If you're on YouTube, we're streaming obviously to about 11,000 subscribers. Big shout out over there. And of course, you make sure that you smash the subscribe button, hit the like, and hit the bell for future videos. If you love constant crypto content, including Pulsechain and some of our favorites, I'm very excited. Now, I have a sneak suspicion we may get X1 chains launching soon, so we're probably going to cover that, and definitely PTC looking to cover that too, because I like what I see there. I think there's some particularly big X's that potentially from there, so we're going to talk about that on the live stream too. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one. See you in Discord. Bye for now. And I've got some big news coming up in the future, and you're going to find out about that. Many of you will probably want to join up. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great weekend. Of course, if you are, make sure you get out for some surfing there, because I love surfing. All right, take care. Bye for now.